Welcome to Tapped In. My name is David Figueroa-Martinez of DFM Coaching, and today we're going to be discussing what toughness is and what it isn't. We have a habit of, especially from that old school mentality of thinking that we have to grit and bear everything and push through and just go through the worst things in order to prove that we belong within a gym or within a sport and think that that is the avenue of toughness. Oftentimes it kind of alienates the rest of us who have full-time jobs and say, we're not going to do that. And so it's an interesting concept in the sense that personally, I think toughness is not refusing to tap just to prove something, specifically in the gym. There's an interview that I came across by Hodger Gracie where he's like, no, just tap. You're at the gym. Your job is to continue to learn and train. Tap. Once your elbow is popped, once your knee is popped, it's never quite the same. Even if it gets surgically repaired or over time, it's just never the same. I have aches and pains, different parts of my body that I know are not 100% and will probably never be 100%. My left shoulder, for example, I don't have the same range of motion as my right, and that was probably because I stayed in a Kimura too long out of not wanting to tap. I have a lower back that it's chronic for me. Thankfully, I don't have any knee or neck issues. I have certain fingers that bother me, and they're not even from me not tapping. It's just the sport. So we're going to attribute and pick up all these little ailments. No need to make it worse by not tapping to something because you want to gut it out. This goes for chokes as well. There was a study that I came across. I don't remember where. I think I saved the link. And they were discussing whether strangulations in Jiu-Jitsu can lead to certain blood clots and strokes. So there's probably a correlation in some capacity to the sport we play. I know of a gym that had several strokes and several stroked victims. And I don't know what caused it specifically, and it may be random and just dumb luck that it happened in one place. But I could imagine that there's a thing about having a piece of cloth wrapped around your neck and you trying to gut things out maybe too long that could lead to something somewhere. It's not beyond the realm of possibility, is all I'm saying. So even in chokes, understand when you're beat and when you're not. And I get it. Some of us are going to compete. Some of us may be competitors. But really, in the gym, that's where you should be understanding when it's a loss and you should just tap, let everything go, restart, and learn from it. And when you still have some room and you can maybe, quote unquote, toughen certain things out without injury and get out of something. Understanding that is super important, and do not put it on anyone to accidentally injure you because you want to play tough. Tough is not bragging about training through pain. I know that a lot of us want to train and we want to continue to be at the gym when we suffer an injury, we pick up something that's nagging. I don't believe that it's something to necessarily be bragged about or discussed in a way that's necessarily a good thing. And I get it. We want to be tough and we want to be able to work through things that maybe the general public would be like, oh, you're a little crazy. I'm in constant some kind of pain or discomfort, uncomfortableness. It's part of being in a contact sport. We're never 100%. But I also don't necessarily highlight it to students how much discomfort I might be in at any given point. I don't want to convey the message that I'm going to respect you more if you come in because you're injured. I just understand injuries are part of the sport and they're part of training. And if you feel like you can train around it, let's train around it. Let's be smart about it. If you feel that it's just going to be exacerbated and get worse, then take some time off or don't drill or don't spar. Make sure that you're healthy because at the end of the day, our biggest concern is longevity and the fact that you have a job and a family that you want to tend to. And at the end, I don't mind getting to old age and having signs that I lived an active life. But I don't want to get to old age not be able to enjoy life because I pushed through too many things and they become bigger issues. So I'm relatively healthy. I don't have any major knee injuries. I don't have any major neck injuries. Most of my stuff is maybe a little bit in the hands, a little bit in the shoulder, but I'm relatively healthy. And I've been that way because I train safe. I've been that way because I train intelligently when I'm injured or got an ailment. I'm protected, or I don't train at all, or I don't spar. So I don't want people to ever think like, oh, you got to keep training and got to train at the same level regardless of your injury. It's silly. So what toughness, in my opinion, is showing up when you don't feel the most confident. Doesn't get talked about. Does not get talked about. How often you are feeling like your jiu-jitsu isn't growing, isn't getting better, but you show up anyway. That's a level of toughness that a lot of people do not have. A lot of people don't want to put themselves in a position where their ego and self-esteem are challenged at something they're not good at. Most of us do not do that. Most Americans, most human beings, they stick to the things that they can do really well. They stick to the things that they know they are good at, and then they keep doing those things. Or they don't do anything at all. So when you're someone who's picked up a habit, or a sport, I should say, and you're formulating habits for that sport, knowing that you suck, that's a level of toughness that most people do not have. And then coming in one night, you're just getting smashed because you're 6-month white belt. And the very next day, you suit up again and you come in again. A level of toughness that most people do not have. My biggest respect is for the older grapplers and the white belts. Because more often than not, if you're older and new, or just new, you're behind the 8 ball in a couple of different ways. You don't have the skill set, and that learning curve is steep. And then if you're old and new, you don't have the skill set, and you don't have the athleticism, and that learning curve is steep. So I always get my biggest accolades and form of appreciation and to commitment are that group. Like you're 40 or 50 and you're starting jiu-jitsu. I know people that are doing it in their 60s, and you're doing jiu-jitsu, something that will humble young people, that will put young people on a path to quit. And you're doing it at your age when you don't have the athleticism and the strength that you used to have when you're prime, and you still keep coming. That's a level of toughness. It's beautiful. Toughness is also listening to your body and saying, I love what I'm doing, but I got to take a week off. I got to go to do some rehab on this injury that I have. I got to see the doctor, and the doctor told me I should take 2 to 3 weeks off. So maybe I'm coming to the gym, but I'm not rolling, I'm not drilling, I'm watching, I'm taking film, taking notes. There's a level of toughness for that. Most people can't do it. Most people, when I tell them, hey, I know you're going to have some time off, I recommend that you come to the gym anyway. Be a part of the camaraderie, laugh, share some jokes, take some notes, visualize technique, see what we're learning so you're not completely behind when you come back. Record if you want. See how people roll, something you don't get to do when you're here because you're rolling yourself. And that chance of seeing other people roll is a huge benefit. See how the instructor rolls from the sidelines. So you see what they're doing when they're not doing. That level of toughness to say, I'm going to come in and I'm going to be genuine about not sparring or drilling. I just want to come in to be a sideline student, or maybe even coach from the sidelines if you're advanced enough, is again a level of toughness people can't do. If they can't train, they feel like they should never be there, and they can't bring themselves to doing that key component when they're injured. So they don't come at all. And some people never come back. And other people have the hardest time coming back when they do, because they feel so disconnected that things have changed. Certain people have left. Some people have advanced, and the chemistry might be a little different when you come back. That's a level of toughness that's hard to do the thing that you should do, even though you can't do the thing that you want to do. Having patience for yourself, not talking bad about yourself internally, is an aspect of toughness. accepting that my progress is going to have a lot of ups and downs. They're going to have gaps between my ups and my next up. There's going to be moments where I'm going to feel completely lost. There's going to be moments where I'm going to be losing rounds regularly. There's going to be moments where I think I'm stagnant. There's going to be moments where maybe I'm dealing with a little ailment or an injury, but it's not serious, but I'm training, but I have to train a certain way because of the ailment. So I'm not advancing like I'd like, or I had to take time off and I'm not advancing like I'd like. Being really genuinely kind to yourself and not bashing yourself when you make mistakes, not bashing yourself when you fall short, when you sign up for a competition and you didn't go the way you wanted. There's a level of toughness in being genuinely honest with yourself and saying, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to understand this is going to be a process. There's absolutely no need for me to down myself and talk negatively about myself. Holding yourself accountable when no one's watching is also a level of toughness. Doing the thing that you have to do to get better versus the one you want to do. Hypothetically, if you have two students and one of them understands their limitations and the things that they're not doing well, and they say to themselves, I'm going to work off of my back. I hate playing guard, but I'm going to work on guard because it's something that I've neglected for too long. They're going to lose. They're going to have their guard passed. They're going to make a lot of mistakes. And that's not going to be necessarily fun for them. Then you have another student who says, no, I'm going to keep working the things that I do well. I'm going to keep guard passing. I'm going to keep doing this, this, and this. And they're all playing from prop. They're never on the bottom. They're never in a bad position. They don't force it. They don't allow it. They just keep going. They're going to have a lot of fun because they're going to continually feel like they're winning. But the game doesn't grow as much because you're only harping on the thing that you do really well. And it never touches or fixes those areas that you don't do well. So when you encounter someone who forces you on your back, forces you to play guard, you don't have one, you get passed, you get submitted, you get crushed, cooked, you tap the pressure, you're mentally not there because it's such a foreign concept to you. That's what's going to end up happening in whatever area that you're missing. But the student who actually intentionally sits down and says, I'm going to work on the thing that I am so shitty at that it's going to take an ego hit. I'm going to have white belts sometimes beating me. I'm going to have blue belts beating me, and I'm a brown belt or I'm a black belt. But I need to work on this thing, and I need to work on it intentionally. That's a level of toughness. And the last one I would kind of push out there is remaining composed even when things go really bad. I have had some serious highs and some serious lows during my time in jiu-jitsu. The thing that I've always tried to be was composed no matter which of the two I was in. I didn't necessarily feed my ego when things went really high. I understand that the bottom was going to hit at some point. But I also understood that no matter how low something might have felt, there's always a turnaround at some point and things are going to get better. And I just have to regulate my emotions, understand that this is part of the process, be mentally tough enough to accept that it's part of the process, and keep moving forward. If you have any questions on this or anything else jiu-jitsu related, you could always reach out to me, dfm.2099 on Instagram and Threads. If there's anything that maybe I touched upon that you needed help with, always reach out to me. I also have a free school community, DFM Coaching BJJ. You can either search for it on school or in the show notes. There's a link. Again, completely free. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Until next time, thank you so much.